Hey, what's up, fam? Thank y'all for tuning in once again. As always, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, hit the notification bell so every time I drop a video, you will be the first to know about it. So Bombshell came out yesterday, and it's funny because when the story went across some of my news feeds, it said Meta CEO, as the title, admits to what we're about to get into. Didn't say who the person's name was, didn't really show a picture. It's almost as if they tried to censor or try to minimize the story a little. So I really didn't look into it, but I was thinking to myself, Meta, Facebook, CEO, wouldn't that be Mark Zuckerberg? Is Mark Zuckerberg admitting this? So naturally, you click on and go through, you Google search it, and then the articles start to pop up. And even this morning, more start to pop up, and actually Mark Zuckerberg's name actually came up. And so I think it's going to be it should be the biggest story today. And it should be the biggest story, one of the biggest stories, at least until the election. Because number one, we got the migrant crisis. Number one, we got the economy. And now we have censorship. Usually they say 3 strikes and you're out. So if this is the 3rd strike for the Democratic Party, sorry to say, they should be out when it comes to policies and politics in your everyday life, because we all want to minimize government control, but to actually sit here and blatantly censor. Shout out to brother Rizza Islam. Watched his brother's videos. I got his books. Actually went and saw the brother speak. I think he was actually there it was just a few years ago, but it was a Tariq Nasheed movie that can't think of it off my head, that he was screening, and brother Rizza was down here, talking about the movie and watching the movie and stuff, and took questions, comments, and stuff like that. But anyway, he was down here. So been following the dude for some years. They done censored that brother, dropped his pages. He had to create different social media pages, websites, and they just keep dropping them, and they just keep trying to come back. And one of the messages he put out there was about the, about the COVID-19 and the conspiracy and the mandates, and how the government was censoring, different posts, a lot of people's posts. And it was crazy because they're censoring stuff that had to do with the COVID-19, but yet you can go online and see, you can actually pull up somebody. I know this woman had a page where she was doing like naked yoga, but because it was categorized as like education, they left it up. They didn't put it down. It was, I don't know if it's still up now, but back then it was like a weird thing. Or you can go online and you see all kind of stuff where people getting deleted and different acts being committed on people. And these things are up. But when it came to that COVID-19, and people were like, nah, we're not finna take this vaccine. Nah, we ain't finna do these mandates. This is ridiculous. Y'all created this. It was created somewhere, so y'all should know how to get rid of it. All that stuff gets shut down. All that stuff gets shut down. And a matter of fact, even let's say now, I have a small channel, thank you to all those who watch and those who have subscribed and even commented, and we have dialogue down in the comment section. I enjoy doing that. But I noticed, as many content creators would notice, and even those who just watch videos would notice, certain videos about certain things don't get a lot of push. I did a video about a lady who called a bunch of kids to shut down a skating ring because they counts as her daughter's party. But there's a lot of details into that. Won't get into that here. And it got a bunch of views. I even got got like thousands of views. Did a video on a guy at the barbershop who cried that Trump people came to his barbershop and was talking about stuff that he didn't know what they was going to come talk about. He didn't know what was going on. He was duped. But the Republican Party put the receipts out and said, hey, this dude was lying, Now, some things are going to snowball and catch, going to catch traction. But then I do videos dealing with important stuff, like pertinent information, dealing with the Democratic Party, the Biden-Harris administration. And it don't get a lot of push, don't get a lot of views. And I know it comes across people's feeds, because I know it comes across my other channels I have, other personal channels I have where I watch my videos at. And my own videos come across my feed. And I'm not even a subscriber. But my point is I know it comes across people's feeds, or it should, but I believe it doesn't. And it's something that a lot of times it's other people, but they'll say that people watch certain things, they'll watch certain things and won't watch others. I understand. But I feel that even with my little baby channel that a lot of times my videos about the Democratic Party does not get pushed for whatever reason, especially when it gets close to the election. So we'll see how this one does. But we're going to go ahead and get into it because, like I said, I think this is going to be one of the biggest, the top three, should be one of the top three stories now until the election dealing with the Democratic Party. So we're going to mine it out. This is from the dailymail.co, and it reads, Mark Zuckerberg admits censoring for Joe Biden in bombshell letter and whines about pressure from the White House. It says, Mark Zuckerberg has admitted that the Biden administration was wrong to demand Facebook censor what they deemed COVID misinformation during the pandemic. The Meta CEO said in a letter to the House Judiciary Committee Chair Jim Jordan that they'll fight back against any attempts at censorship in the future, and also admitted the company had demoted stories about Hunter Biden's laptop. Now, that was another big story, too. And I know, shout out to Judge Joe Brown. He talks about that laptop a lot. And says a lot more information about that laptop that he saw that is not being put out to the public. It's being suppressed to the public, censorship. And people look at Judge Joe Brown like a conspiracy theorist and he don't know what he's talking about and he's old and he just sit down. But Judge Joe Brown has been right on a lot of things. Maybe even if he's wrong on some things, and nobody is 100% correct on everything they talk about or what they do. So, but this, he put out there and said, hey, there's a lot more information about this laptop. And now Mark Zuckerberg is admitting that they was told to suppress stories about Hunter's laptop. Now, let me get to, hold on. He wrote that the White House repeatedly pressured our teams for months to censor certain COVID-19 content, including humor and satire, and expressed a lot of frustration with our teams when we didn't agree. He said that the pressure was wrong and says he regrets that we were not more outspoken about it. We made some choices that, with the benefit of hindsight and new information, we wouldn't make today, he added. And it shows the letter. Do I want to read this letter? This is written yesterday. Oh, man. Let's see. It's like got the Meta letterhead, the address, says August 26, 2024. He's writing to the Honorable Jim Jordan, Chairman Committee on the Judiciary, United States House of Representatives. Got the address to the representative address. Chairman Jordan, I appreciate the committee's interest in content moderation on online platforms. As you are aware, Meta has produced thousands of documents as part of your investigation and made a dozen employees available for transcribed interviews. Further to our cooperation with your investigation, I welcome the opportunity to share what I have taken away from this process. It's not a real long letter. It said there's a lot of talk right now around how the U.S. government interacts with companies like Meta, and I want to be clear about our position. Our platforms are for everyone. We're about promoting speech and helping people connect in a safe and secure way. As a part of this, we regularly hear from government. We regularly hear from governments around the world and others with various concerns around public discourse and public safety. In 2021, senior officials from the Biden administration, including the White House, repeatedly pressured our team for months to censor certain COVID-19 content, including humor and satire, and expressed a lot of frustration with our team when we didn't agree. And ultimately, it was our decision whether or not to take content down, and we own our decisions, including COVID-19 related changes we made to our enforcement in the wake of this pressure. I believe the government pressure was wrong, and I regret that we were not more outspoken about it. Now, in separate situation that everybody warned us about potential Russian. Hold on. Let's go back to it was their decision. That's like tongue in cheek. Anybody knows if somebody, let's say if you want influence in certain sectors and someone has let's say the authority or in a position that they can make or break you, make your life smooth or live in hell, they don't necessarily have to say, do this or else. They can just say, hey, we recommend, the President Joe Biden would like for you to. Now, I know we have like for you to do this, that, and the third. Now, I know we have a certain type of relationship and everything was going smoothly, right? Yeah, okay. Well, we think it'd be in the best interest of everyone if you would do this, that, and the third. They don't have to just bust out and say, hey, Joe Biden said, hey, you need to take this COVID-19 stuff down. If not, we're going to do everything in our power to shut this Meta platform down. They're not going to do that. It's going to be subtle. Let's say in a separate situation, the FBI warned us about a potential Russian disinformation operation about the Biden family and business in the lead up to the 2020 election. That fall, when we saw a New York Post story reporting on corruption allegations involving the then Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden's family, we sent that story to fact checkers for review and temporarily demoted it while waiting for a reply. It's since been made clear that the reports was not Russian disinformation, and in retrospect, we shouldn't have demoted the story. Man, look at here. It's another, the letter's not that much longer, but I'm gonna let y'all get to that. Let's see. Let me get back to the story. It says, I feel strongly that we should not compromise our content standards due to the pressure from any administration in either direction, and we're ready to push back if something like that happens again. A spokesperson for the White House told DailyMail.com in a statement that the Biden administration's policy is to encourage big tech to act responsibly. Pay attention to the words. Pay attention to what they say and what they're not saying. When confronted with a deadly pandemic, this administration encouraged responsible actions to protect public health and safety. Our position has been clear and consistent. We believe tech companies and other private actors should take into account the effects their actions have on the American people while making independent choices about the information they present. See, people have been putting out quote unquote conspiracy theories and quote unquote misinformation since the beginning of time. And a lot of time it's true. A lot of times what they put out is factual information, but because certain people want you to think and act a certain way, they'll get ahead of it and make people think, oh, this person is something wrong with this person. This person is crazy. And we put them in a mental institution. People have put out the truth and have put out less information and have been ostracized, have been banned, have been imprisoned, have been deleted, exiled, if you will. Since the beginning of time, this is nothing different. I don't know why people don't believe that the government or people in high positions of power, or even entertainers, athletes, wouldn't do unscrupulous, people with money would not do unscrupulous things. That could be how they got to that position in the first place. And so now it's just come out and now you're like, They're like, what? I don't know. No, it's not exactly what we said. See, these people are politicians. These people are lawyers. They went to law school. They know how to say and write things to pretty much, not put the blame on them. To kind of make you say, oh, well, they only encouraged. They didn't make him do it. No. They said the word encouraged. They know what they did. The tactics were probably a little unscrupulous. You know what I'm saying? A spokesperson for Meta told the Wall Street Journal the letter spoke for itself. After Wall Street, I might have looked it up on the Wall Street Journal. Zuckerberg also said that Meta would not repeat what it did in 2020, funding nonprofits to fund local election efforts, which Republicans criticized as Zuckerbucks meant to assist liberals. He and his wife, Priscilla Chan, gave nearly $420 million to nonprofits that aided in the administration and infrastructure of the 2020 election in heavily favored Democratic counties. $420 million. I've done videos talking about voting and specifically the videos where you had the black women win with Harris, the white women, the black men, the white men, and the gay people. I mean, the LMNOP community people, how they all did these phone calls and raised this money, and how it was like a big deal saying that so many women, 40,000 women got on the call and raised like $2 million. And oh my God, that's great. And then so many white women got on the call and raised like 8 million and whatever. And I'm like, look at here. And like all the black women and black men raised $5 million, something like $10 million, man, who knows? But they were so happy that they did this for somebody who really does not identify with you and will not do anything for your community. We know this and we've heard it from her own mouth, but yet somehow she still has you in her grips, believing that she's the second coming. But you actually think your 2 million is going to outshine the white women's 8 million or 10 million. And altogether, as a group, women, you actually think your few $1 million will have more influence than $420 million coming from one guy. I showed there's a website called, I think, secretdonors.org. And they showed that how one person gave like $115 million to the people's campaigns. These are like for private organizations. We're talking about the campaigns, and it's $115 million. Money talks. Money talks. Chucks and pearls walk. Zuckerberg, 37, and Chan, 36, donated $419.5 million to the Center for Technology and Civil Life and the Center for Election Innovation and Research, which the report says was given with specific conditions. Using the donations, both CTLC and CEIR sent funds to local governments to implement administrative practices, voter methods, data sharing agreements, and outreach programs for the 2020 election. Analysis shows Biden winning counties were 3 times more likely to get funding from the organizations than Trump ones. And the Democrats were reportedly given a significant boost in key swing states through promotion of practices that have typically favored their vote tally, such as mail-in voting. In a letter to the Judiciary Committee, Zuckerberg acknowledges the perception of bias and promises not to do the same next time. Despite the analysis I've seen showing otherwise, I know that some people believe this work benefited one party over the other, he wrote. My goal is to be neutral and not play a role one way or another, or to even appear to be playing a role. So I don't plan on making a similar contribution this cycle. In April 2020, Facebook has announced it was imposing limits on harmful misinformation about COVID-19. That included efforts to claim the so-called lab leak theory was true. Within a year, the company reversed the decision. He also admitted the company shouldn't have demoted the Hunter Biden laptop story ahead of the 2020 election. Democrats and liberal media members suggest that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation ahead of the election, leading social media to censor the story. It's kind of like back with Al Qaeda and the terrorism and Yellow Cake with the, with Baby Bush going over there and not finding a thing. I guess after the 9/11 attacks, not finding nothing, no weapons of mass destruction at all. But that's what he had us tried to have us believe. But it was all about, war and financing wars and people making money, people getting contracts with these government contracts with weapons. Who was the vice president then? Hell, I can't remember his name. Dude that shot his homeboy in a hunting trip with bird shot. But anyway, stuff like that. And people are like, man, ain't no weapons of mass destruction. The government lied to us. And you got folks saying, no, ain't no way in the world the government would do that to us. But yet, couldn't find that they did. And this here is no different. In June 2024, federal prosecutors used a laptop as a piece of evidence in the first son's ongoing federal gun trial in Delaware, putting the question of its authenticity at rest. It's since been made clear that the reporting was not Russian disinformation, and in retrospect, we shouldn't have demoted the story, Zuckerberg wrote. In a statement to X, Jordan called this a big win for free speech. In February 2021, the company announced that it was expanding its crackdown to include claims that virus was man-made. In a blog post, Facebook said it would not allow conspiracy theories about COVID-19 vaccines. The social network's about face comes on the same day that President Joe Biden asked his intelligence agencies to redouble their efforts to pinpoint the origins of the coronavirus. In 2020, claims by the Trump administration that the coronavirus may have originated in a lab in Wuhan were met with skepticism from mainstream media, which appeared to adopt the view the pathogen was transmitted from bats to humans. Democrats, anti-Trump commentators in the press accused the then president and his administration of advancing a theory about China deliberately creating the coronavirus in order to deflect attention away from its handling of efforts to mitigate the spread of the disease in the U.S. But reports surfaced about an apparent cover-up of the origin of the virus have prompted a re-examination of the issue. So basically, they're saying, what he said might have been true. Let's just look into it and see. Doggone well if it's true or not. In October 2021, it's revealed Facebook researchers are said to have had extensive knowledge that the coronavirus and misinformation about the COVID-19 vaccine existed on the company's apps, yet did little to combat it, let alone share the information with the White House. Documents presented by Facebook whistleblower Frances Haugen show how multiple studies were run, producing a number detailing the types of users who are most likely to share fake news. Lawmakers, academics, and the White House urged Facebook to share such information publicly. Facebook employees also knew misinformation about the coronavirus was dominating parts of the social media platform, creating echo chambers like effects, ultimately reinforcing hesitancy over the vaccine. The trove of documents showed that in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, Facebook carefully investigated how its platform spread information about life-saving vaccines. They also reveal rank and file employees regularly suggested solutions for countering anti-vaccine content on the site to no avail. Facebook's internal discussions were revealed in disclosures made to the Securities and Exchange Commission and provided Congress in redacted form by former Facebook employee turned whistleblower Frances Haugen, legal counsel. Yeah, I read the whole thing. I didn't think I ever read a whole article before, but I had to on this one because this is huge, man. This is huge. Censorship is a big thing in this country. So we can go back to Uncle, what's his name? Call him Uncle Luke, Luther Campbell, which, I mean, sadly, he's, caping for Kamala Harris for whatever reason. He went through a whole censorship thing back in the day with his records. NWA, Ice-T, the likes. The government was trying to ban these artists. They used to take their CDs, throw them on the ground, burn them, run them over with a construction vehicle, put them to court, put them in jail, all kind of stuff, did all kind of stuff to try to censor them and ban them. And eventually they end up winning because, you got freedom of speech. For those who want to say that they're for the Constitution, claim that, if you're for democracy and for not amending or getting rid of the Constitution, that you should vote Democrat because those are things that Trump is trying to do. Every day you see that it's damn near a bold-faced lie. Because from what I'm seeing, everything that the Democrats are talking against, they are actually doing. Like censorship on the web. Now, I believe that there are certain things that should not be put out there for everybody, for everyone's consumption. Like, music, certain videos, children shouldn't see. Everything should have a category. So if you, as adults, if you want to look at things or deal with certain things, then hey, by all means, you can go do it. You remember back in the day, they still got adult bookstores. I don't know, but adult video stores. But you go to a video store and you just look at these videos, get books, but in the back or behind the counter, there were things that had the black bags on them, the black covers on them that they couldn't display, but it was there. If you wanted, you had to get special permission. And you had to prove how old you were, and then they can, they'll give it to you. But now it's just, it's like all out in the open that everybody has access to it. So I think it should be some control, not necessarily maybe censorship, because a lot of things put out there I don't agree with. But some things need to be out there so that way people, because you need to know who your community is, who's part of the community and what they're about. Because everybody is not your friend. All your neighbors, you're not gonna eat their, not gonna eat their pound cake that they bring over to you when you move in. It's just not gonna. That's just not feasible. But for the government to take one of the biggest social media platforms in the world and pretty much demand that they take certain things down because they want to spread the vaccine. I did not get the vaccine. Refused to get it because I know a lot of people did. And hell, I'm going to tell you like this. When I was working for the VA, I was actually giving the vaccines to people. And people ask me, what did I believe? Say, did I take it? Would I take the vaccine? And I'm like, man, look at her. I'm not going to tell you if I did or did. I'm just going to tell you, you do what you feel is best for you. I mean, you make sure you research. Don't just take it because somebody told you to. I mean, you do your due diligence and then you come to your own conclusion and you take that chance. Period. I wasn't willing to do it because I was reading misinformation, and misinformation had me believe that I shouldn't take it. Well, you see that there were side effects to taking it. There are long-term side effects to taking it. It's also long-term, they say long-term side effects to also getting the COVID-19. I believe I had it at least twice. One time almost took me out. Well, I ain't gonna say it was that bad, but it was pretty bad. I don't want to say that I was like on my deathbed, but if I wouldn't have did certain things at the time that I did it, yeah, it could have been devastating. Could have been real devastating. But hey, I'm like one of them people that I'm not really into just jumping on the newest thing, especially when it comes to my health, like diets and medications and, vaccines. It's gotta be, to me, there gotta be some history behind it. It's gotta have been around for a while before I consider doing something like that, because something new and it's going in your body and they saying that it'll have this effect and everything is fine. It'll cure or keep you from getting it, then come to find out it's not keeping you from getting it or spreading it. it's just kind of, I guess, minimize the symptoms, I guess. I don't know. I still don't know to this day what the heck it does. Because people who got it still died, and people who didn't get it died and or didn't die, or vice versa. So I don't know. But we know it really, a lot of it boils down to your immune system, your health and stuff like that. So that's what, I think that I think the Most High, that I've been doing things over years to improve my health slowly but surely, changing my eating habits, my mobility, like I say, regimen, mobility regimen, this and the third, reading more, eating, drinking, pretty much nothing but water for the most part. Trying to eat, fruits and vegetables is could be 80 to 90% of my diet, seriously. So that's just what I do. So to make sure that, hey, whether it's disinformation or information or disinformation, regardless, if I can stick to the tried and true methods as a living habits, eating habits, exercise habits, studying, meditating, stuff like that, getting outside with nature, it's going to improve my chance of survival, a lot of stuff. And then if I need to tweak it a little bit with with a few medications, this, that, and third, okay, we can do that. But other than that, gosh, you just can't trust the government or the internet. So anyway, point is, the Biden-Harris administration, dude, tried to censor information being put out there, tried to censor you knowing information about the COVID-19. I've done stories telling people that, hey, I grew up in the Baptist church. I once thought about becoming a Muslim. The last thing that I studied and looked in and considered myself a part of was the Hebrew Israelite way of thinking. And it all boils down to just biblical principles of living. That's all, really. It's all really. That's what I take from it. A lot of other details and factions, anyway, I can go in detail later. But I've always been the person to research things before I jump into it. A lot of times people will misunderstand what you're doing when you're researching stuff and you're asking questions. They'll think that you've actually jumped into this religion or this dieting or this fad or whatever, and they call you crazy. But you're only in the initial parts of your research, and people dog you out, talk crazy to you, talk crazy about you. And that's what discourages a lot of people from even doing anything different than what they normally do, because they're afraid that people are going to talk bad about them and look at them crazy. I could care less. You got to have the attitude that you could care less. The COVID-19 came out. They quarantined everybody. They didn't know what to do. Then they said, okay, we're going to come with this vaccine in about 2 weeks. Everybody needs to take it. I'm like, I don't know. Let me look into it more. Let me do more research. And yes, you will run into some misinformation. Yes. Hell, I've read books. I got books behind me, as you see, and I got books all over the house. But I've read books to where you read it, it's informational. You think the information in it is straightforward and true. And then after a while, you'll see things that debunk what was in that book. It's like, dang. But it's not really, don't consider it a waste of time, because you have to have that discernment and understanding. You have to be able to look at stuff, because everything you look at, like I say, everything somebody tell you is not true. Everything you tell yourself ain't true. Everything your spouse, your mama, your daddy, people in your family, your friends, everything they say may not be factual. Even though they may speak on it as it being fact and think it's true, it may not be true. So you always got to do some research, and people may get in their feelings if you question what they bring to you, and that's fine. No one cares. Get over it. but you're doing it for yourself to get the right information. So yes, you can go in depth and see some stuff that is wrong and not know it and think it's the truth. And then after a while, somebody will say, hey, look at this right quick. Just look at this. And then you look at it and it's like, man, hold on. There's something behind it. And then that's the only way you're going to really get as close to the truth as you possibly can, is to see everybody's opinion, everybody's like what everybody puts out there. That's the only way you're going to be able to do it. Because if not, it'll be one-sided. You'll listen to some bullcorn information where people get up and do speeches, only talk bad about one party, but don't tell you what they're going to do for you and what they've done for you to make your life better. Although they're the ones that are in office, and the reason why your life is the way it is right now, due to their policies that they've implemented over the last few years. And they're going to try to feed you and say, hey, it's going to be different if you let me stay in here. Man, come on. But anyway, tell me what you think about this story. Leave your comments below and then share it with the world. Let's have dialogue. What do you think about your Democratic Party censoring one of the largest social media platforms in the world in order for you to do something? And it might have been and I'm not saying if it wasn't for the good of the country, because it could have been. Who knows? But because they may say, hey, people are just too dumb to make their own choice. So we need to make sure they don't see everything else. Don't give them a reason not to do this, because we have to do this, because if not, everybody's going to die. So they can't look at this other stuff. But yet the government didn't even know. If that's the case, then the government didn't even know what was going on. Didn't even understand what are the effects of what was happening in the world. And that's scary too. But anyway, like I said, let's dialogue about this. Hey, thank y'all for watching. But hey, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Those 4 ways of support. Don't cost you anything, but maybe a couple minutes out your day, but it means the world to us. If you would like to support financially, you can go give super thanks or super chats, or you can go to the description box. There are links there you can click on. You can give financial support. Don't forget to go to marlonmorale.com. That's marlonmorale.com, where you get perfumes, silk scarves, silk do-rags, beard kits, etc. Go there, get your first purchase, get 10% off. I promise you will not be disappointed. You get some products for yourself or for your loved ones. That's marlonmorale.com. And with that being said, I'll leave you in peace, and I'll see you on the other side.